like to introduce our guest speaker for today, Mr. Suee Chieh. Suee Chieh is not unfamiliar to a lot of us here, especially in Singapore and Malaysia. But I suppose, to those outside Singapore and Malaysia, you may have heard of him too. He's currently the president of the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries. And he has been a senior leader in a variety of organizations. And his focus has been transformational change and innovation. Past roles include Group CEO of NTUC Social Enterprise, it's a cooperative here in Singapore, CEO of NTUC Income, President of Asia Pacific of SHR Group Limited, a British psychological assessment firm, and Regional MD and CEO of Prudential PLC in Asia. Suee Chieh has also won the Singapore Business Awards for Outstanding CEO of the Year in 2012. His presentation today is High Performance in a VUCA Environment. So you're asking what is VUCA, right? Later, you share that with you. It is on what and how to build and lead a high-performing team in this COVID-19 pandemic. So now let us welcome Suee Chieh. Give him a warm welcome, please. Hi, Suee Chieh.
Hi, thank you for your kind introduction.
Right. Hi, Suee Chieh. Before you begin your presentation, maybe as a warm-up to our Slido questions as well, let me start off by kind of introducing you through a few questions, right? First question, I'd like to share that, you are the first Asian to be formally elected as president-elect of the prestigious Institute and Faculty of Actuaries in the UK last year. And as president-elect during the early March of this year, you initiated to organize the COVID-19 Actuaries Response Group, a group of actuaries and medical professions that meets regularly to discuss the evolving crisis and publish impartial actuarial advice. To date, members of the COVID-19 Actuaries Response Group have had 2 articles published in the Actuary and 1 in the Spectator. The group has also been quoted in the Wall Street Journal and many other news outlets. This initiative has shown how coordinated actuarial teamwork can help to inform and influence the public, both in the UK and abroad. You then became the president this June, and as part of your presidential address, you're pushing hard to embark on a cultural journey of transformation, to bring back the global authority, thought leadership, strength of influence of actuaries around the world. And you mentioned 4 new strategies of this cultural transformation, namely vision, skill set, mindset, domain of the professions. So maybe you want to share with us at a high level, why did you form this particular group? And maybe share a bit in terms of your mindset and thinking as you take on the president's role in June this year.
Thanks, Kasian. I hope all of you can hear me clearly, and thanks for your kind introduction. I'm very pleased to speak to you because I know Kasian, and of course I know my old friend and partner Anil when he was with Citibank and I was a CEO with NTUC Income. I'm very delighted to be part of this. I know you are very busy, active in your mission. And I read a lot about you in a paper. So I'm glad that I'm able to spend the next 60 minutes sharing my thoughts with you. I'm going to take some time to answer Kasian's question. Partly, I want to use them as examples to illustrate performance in a period of uncertainty. And I would not pretend that I have all the answers. I can only share my story, and I would also be very interested in yours, because I know that you all are doing very good work across Asia. So I did form a group. I think you have 100 plus people, and maybe 10 or 20 of you all are actuaries, maybe. There's a typical proportion, or maybe a slightly higher one. Not everyone is familiar. IFoA is Institute and Faculty of Actuaries. It's a very august, established and highly respected institution in the UK and in the Commonwealth. I argue that over the last 25 years, it's declined in influence. And because I was away for 25 years, because when I was CEO, I was not active. That is the context. Setting up a small group outside IFoA is like what Steve Jobs did by setting up skunk work outside Apple when he returned, because he was unable to put up a group of people to respond to his proposition within the structure he has within Apple. And I'm sure that many of you are quite familiar with the digital story, and that was what I did. I did that from two reasons. One is bottom up, the other one is top down. Bottom up, I'm a Singaporean. My last trip abroad was on January the 23rd, and it was the last trip. And I came back to Singapore. Hyatt Hotel in Singapore was the home of a super spreader event. And within 10 days, and Hyatt is special to me because that's where my gym is. I go there frequently. And within 10 days, the government announced DORSCON level to yellow, I think. And there was panic buying in supermarkets in Singapore for things like foodstuff and toilet paper. And that is something, a shiver took place, right? Why are we in this place, right? And I begin to start blogging about the statistics and the crisis, yeah. And I wanted to verify some of my numbers. So I started connecting with people in the UK, and one led to another. And then as a result, I said, why don't we form a group and then educate, influence, and inform the actuarial community and beyond. And up to today, it has been a wild success because they have published 75 bulletins. And top down, the IFoA was unable to respond quickly because we are a conservative institution, and the conservative institutions is anchored on the strong values of actuarial science: cautiousness, reticence, consistency, and accuracy. Yeah, and this one is what actuaries are famous for. We are accurate, we are cautious, we are reticent, and we are consistent. And that is our strongest trait. But in a response to a crisis where you want to respond quickly, it is not the best traits. Yeah, although those traits are very responsible for pricing and valuation in stable times. And that goes into the heart of our new strategy, because for us to thrive in a digital world, which was at the heart of the VSMD strategy, we have to acquire new skill sets like data science and machine learning. But that is not enough. We got to acquire new mindsets, which is about curiosity, adaptability, courage, imagination, and good judgment. And those mindsets are necessary to thrive in a digital world and the world of the fourth industrial revolution. But when the COVID-19 came, it also brought along, associated with it, the climate risk factors, which was, we saw the Australian bushfires, the flooding and the locusts in Africa, and the melting of the polar caps. We saw the Trump and China relationships break down. We had huge consequences for markets. We saw negative interest rates. We are wandering into unfamiliar territory, which is a period of uncertainty. And in those periods, you really need, say, different sets of values to help you thrive. And that is going to be important to any organization, who wants to thrive in an environment which is not structured or stable, which is really a VUCA environment. So that was the context of COVID-19 and IFoA. And I wouldn't say that the strategy drove what I did, but what I learned in the last 6 months informs the development of my strategy. So it is actually very circular. What I'm learning is informing my strategy, and strategy is helping me to execute. And very fortunately, I found like-minded people, which means that you need to network. And they are mainly at the ancillary of the main IFoA. But we are beginning to start embracing those alternative thinking, and it's a journey.